Hi, Danny.
Hi, how are you?
We're back.
I'm so excited.
I am too. I can't believe it. I think this time around it's going to be really great because we get to create from a place of so much more knowledge, and we've helped so many people since we last recorded the podcast, and we've just crafted so many more things for our audience.
I think so. This is honestly going to be an incredible experience for everyone listening. I'm so excited.
I'm so glad that you're here. Truly, I am. And I think one thing that we're really going to touch on today is something that all of us have struggled with at some point. So, this is for you. If you are tired of questioning if you are good enough in your relationships. I know this is so common and we get it. We've been there ourselves. And today we're going to cover number one, what insecurity is and isn't. I think that a lot of times we can get confused, right? And say, hey, is this, does this look like insecurity for me? Does this look like security for me? What does this mean? And we can break it all down together. And let's also talk about 3 ways that you can overcome it. So, Danny, let's get into it. But who are we first?
Well, we're Danny and Keely, and I'm a certified life coach, and I'm a 2 times published author. And who are you? You're Keely.
I'm Keely. I am a somatic attachment therapist and an EFT practitioner.
We are the co-founders of the world's leading queer wellness platform, Coming Out Happy, which has just been such an amazing thing. It's just so much more than a company. It's a movement. It's an investment in ourselves and in the whole entire queer community.
Yeah.
And really what we do is we help people create healthy relationships. We help people create a life they love through prioritizing their own well-being. I mean, there's just so much that we're here to do through education, through coaching, through community. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you're here. Really. I know how difficult this topic, and I truly have been there myself. I actually really, really struggled with insecurity when I first started dating you. And if you've ever attended any of our events, which we have some coming up, so make sure you check the description box, you know that this story really rings true around a lot of the work that we do. And in the beginning of my relationship with Danny, and I'm not sure if you remember this, Danny, specifically.
Let's hear it.
I'm sure you do. But when we first started dating and you would, have your other plans or you'd go to hang out with people, I remember maybe not expressing it so much loudly in the beginning, but I remember feeling really insecure. And I remember always questioning and wondering if I was enough when Danny had other plans with friends. I mean, there was no, and I think sometimes when there's, trust that has been broken, it can be difficult, but there was never any trust broken. I was really just dealing with insecurity within myself. And when she would tell me that she was going to spend time with friends, I would get this anxious feeling, almost as if she was going to leave. And it really brought me back to, memories and past experiences where I had felt that before, but I didn't recognize that in the moment. I was just like, what's going on here? Why are you, not wanting to spend time with me? Or what can I do to make myself more exciting, to do more things? When really we all know that being in a relationship, it's so important that you take time for yourself. And I was reacting in the way that I was. And many of us don't understand what our reactions mean, but they're actually a signal for us to come back to ourselves. I remember asking you lots of questions. Where are you going? Who are you going with? And I would be checking my phone the whole time to see if maybe she had texted me or if she made it okay. And I wouldn't make plans while she was away. I would just kind of sit and wait. And I think if there's anything that you take away today, it's time to put that focus back on yourself, because I just was wasting a lot of time being anxious about something that there wasn't really a threat here. There was no threat at all. It was us trying to create our own individual space, and it's about getting comfortable and recognizing that feeling within yourself. And so looking back, I can see how if that pattern continued with us, I don't think that we would be here today, because I was feeling so anxious about our relationship. And no matter how much reassurance Danny gave me, I still felt like it wasn't enough until I actually looked within myself. And I learned how to overcome this, and I want to share exactly what you need to do to start becoming more secure in yourself, to start taking more time for yourself, to start prioritizing more of who you are, even if you're in a relationship or if you're not in a relationship. This all applies, and it's really, really important. So I know that showed up for me. Have you ever experienced insecurity in your relationships?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I think an important piece to talk about here is that insecurity, of course, as we all know, shows up outside of relationships. It shows up in the work that we do. It shows up in how we present ourselves. Something that is really my specialty is talking about authenticity and who we are. And we can't really be the most authentic version of ourselves, even beyond our queer identity, if we are feeling so insecure in all aspects of our lives. Yeah. And it holds us back from being confident when we step into a room. It holds us back from so many things that we want to accomplish because we're so worried about what we feel like is wrong with us, who is not going to like us, all of these different things. And when we are confident and secure in ourselves, it just absolutely changes everything. But, just talking about what insecurity is and isn't is so complex. Because it can come from how we grow up. It can come from our experiences that honestly just compound over time when we're just being so hard on ourselves for the things that we haven't accomplished or who hasn't loved us. A lot of it comes from the fact that we feel like we haven't been loved. Yeah. And all of this can look like so many different ways, It's being insecure can come in so many different forms, is what I was trying to say, whether it's starting fights or finding ways out of a relationship or just being afraid to speak up for yourself or hiding your true feelings when you're actually doing anything in life. I mean, insecurities just can make or break you at a certain point. And it's so hard because we all want to walk through life thriving and becoming the best person that we want to be. But it's so difficult when we're so focused on what we aren't and stewing in those different feelings. So that's what I have to say on that. But I've definitely experienced it, and it held me back from everything that I wanted to accomplish in life until I figured out a few secrets that we'll be talking about today.
Yeah, definitely. No, that all resonates, and for some of you, hopefully it connects to you as well, and maybe you're seeing that, the way that I grew up, it was, inconsistent, or I don't feel like I got a lot of attention, or I didn't feel heard. And I think to bring in that queer perspective, and that's what we really love to do, is to talk about that queer added layer to your lived experience, is that for many queer people, we felt rejected by society. I mean, and don't quote me on this because I know it changes all the time, but from the recent statistic that I looked at, 69 countries, it is still illegal to, be queer or express that. And I think that we all can feel that and the depths of how much that impacts us. So if you can imagine with me, growing up in this environment where you're not sure that you're accepted for who you are and you're trying to cultivate a sense of self, you're not going to feel so connected to who you are, and this pulls us away from feeling that connection, which there lies the security, and all the insecurity is rooted. So could it be from many different aspects? 100%. But do I think all queer people in some shape or form have experienced rejection and have felt outcasted? 100%. If you ask any queer person at some point, some shape or form, they've been rejected, if not by their own families and personal relationships. So it's a really, really difficult thing. But security it's possible. I mean, security can look, and it can show in so many different ways, but it is so possible to feel more secure in who you are. And I think when we're talking about this, Danny, something that is that I don't like to ever say, well, once you do this, you'll be fully healed, because we are on this lifelong journey forever of healing and growing and trying new things and experimenting with things and understanding what works well for us. And so when we look at this and we kind of break down this perspective, right, security, we can move towards security. And I want to have you keep this in your mind. We can move towards security, and there are certain things that you can do to help you move towards that. What it can look like is being able to set boundaries that help you grow, right? Many people think of boundaries as barriers, and they don't want to be a bad person, and they're not feeling confident, and they identify themselves as a non-confrontational person. But recognizing that you can move towards security and actually set those boundaries and not feel the guilt that comes over many of us. And so you can also trust people in relationships because you trust yourself. I think when we don't trust ourselves, we're looking for anything that we can control because everything feels out of control.
And you also want to hold on so tightly because you're so afraid that you'll never find that again. I mean, Keely, how many times do we see everyone coming to us, clients who eventually become clients, are struggling with just that peace within themselves to know that they'll find people that actually connect with them instead of gravitating towards anyone that they can find.
Right. The last thing that we want to do is let go when we feel insecure and we know the moment we don't have, people around us, we're going to have that loneliness kick in. I mean, loneliness is one of the things that I focus on with our clients the most because they do feel that loneliness, and that's one of the things that holds people back from ending relationships that maybe weren't the best fit for them because they're afraid to be alone. So this all goes so much deeper. I know that, on a surface level of what does it look like to overcome insecurity, it can seem simple, but there are a lot of different layers. But the one thing that you should know today is that it is possible to move to more secure, to be more secure within yourself, to move towards security. So another thing is that maybe you hold back what you want to say out of fear of, bringing up or stirring things up, or someone not listening to your opinion and you not feeling heard and just holding back what you think.
Yeah.
That can be a really, that's really common for you, especially. You've definitely seen that show up in your life a lot.
I mean, as we're talking about all these different things, I think I have been through every single one on the list.
Yeah.
So keep it going.
Yeah, and then also really not allowing yourself to handle conflict in relationships. I think one of the things that I struggled with in all my relationships is that I didn't know how to communicate my feelings, and I would like to self-sabotage the relationships or sabotage them by, bringing up a breakup or bringing up the end so that it would be easier for me to just walk away, that I could end it before the other person did. But again, when you're secure in yourself, it can look like being more of your true self and not feeling like you have to control the other, people or people in your life or a person that you are with. And so that's really, really important as well. But the best part, again, is that you can move towards security by beginning to heal that relationship with yourself, by beginning to love more of who you are. And here are 3 ways that I've broken down that I think can kind of simplify how you look at this and make it more tangible.
Okay.
Right?
Let's get into it.
Because a lot of times people are like, okay, just do this, and it can feel really confusing. But if I were to say number 1 thing, it's that you have to start learning more about your patterns. You really do. You show up in this world every single day. You show up in your relationships every single day. And you have to start identifying the ways that you're reacting. What are your behaviors? What are you doing? What are you saying? And the ways that you do insecurely attach onto others. How is that showing up for you? One of the most important keys is becoming aware so we know where to start. I want you to listen to that one more time. One of the most important things is to become aware so that you know where to start. Because if we're like, I want to fix this, but we're not looking at where it's actually showing up, what are we going to do, right? What are we going to do?
I'm not really sure.
Kind of sounds like what your grandma would say. She's like, what are we going to do? She's from New York.
With her Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that I want to mention is that we do have a free guide that you can check out where we go into more of what these attachment patterns look like. So go check that out. I'll make sure to link it here so that you can see it. And you can definitely read more about that. So start there. Learn more about where it's showing up, your patterns, and how you can become more aware of it. And we'll have some more steps that'll kind of digress within that free resource for you as well.
Yes, so now let's dive into the second way that you can become more secure in yourself so that your life and your relationships will transform. Let's dive into it. So I want you to start thinking about who you are and the value that you have. And again, this takes time, okay? This just takes time. It takes a lot of reflection. It takes a lot of practice. And all of this can start today. So let's dive right into it. So I want you to start asking yourself questions that I have for you, such as, what do you feel like you have to offer to the world, to those that you're in relationships with? And relationships can look like all different kinds, romantic or platonic, or within your family. What do you feel like you have to offer to the people around you? The second question is, How have you made someone you care about smile before? This can uncover a lot about who you are. Next question I have for you is, what does everyone say that they love about you? All right. I love those reflection questions.
It's time to truly look at these reflection questions as a way for you to uncover more about what it is that you need for yourself, to know your worth, to know and believe and trust that you are a unique human and there is no one else like you, and that you have so much to offer. And I think sometimes it just takes allowing ourselves to really look at that, and a lot of times we can hear it from others. I think when we're creating this relationship with ourselves, it's like, how do you care about a friend, right? What do your friends say about you? And really looking at these different perspectives can bring more awareness into our life about the things that we already do really well and the things that people really do love about us. And number 3, let's get into that one. It's time to start building trust with yourself. Again, this doesn't happen overnight, like Danny mentioned before, but it sure can happen with practice. And every single day you have the opportunity to make self-loving, trusting decisions that build upon that trust with yourself. And it can be from anything really small, but it's acknowledging that you trust yourself enough to go and do that. So one of the ways that I started building this trust with myself is I started developing a routine where I would take myself on little dates. It didn't matter if I was actually going to a restaurant or to a park or whatever it was. I would plan something small for myself. And to me, I built that trust over time because I showed myself through that I don't have to be alone, or I don't have to feel upset when I'm alone, and that I can really start to enjoy my company. And it was a little uncomfortable at first, I'm not going to lie to you, but over time I felt more and more comfortable. And truthfully, I think this is what we love showing our clients. Most of our clients come to us and struggle with self-trust because they really feel like they don't know how they could ever trust themselves after a life of not trusting themselves. And in the Pride method that we've created, this is our signature framework, inside of our course, Pride Amplified, we show you that self-trust really allows you to make confident decisions because you build it over time and you become more confident in who you are based off of those decisions that you do. You're able to be more authentic in who you are and continue to create that life that's really aligned for you. And it starts with these small actions, and this is the first step. Yeah. This is the first step of really breaking down that trust within yourself. So let's wrap up here. Let's talk about some of the takeaways of this video, okay? Number 1. Understanding yourself is a crucial part in overcoming insecurity. It is so crucial. Looking at those patterns, really identifying some of the activities that you can do in your everyday life to build that self-trust, and also going back into what is it that you have to offer? Who are you, and how can you start believing that you're worth it? That is so important. And really knowing, too, another takeaway, that you are lovable, and it takes looking at this part of yourself that's maybe reacting or feeling insecure because that part of you needs some attention. Mm-hmm. That part of you needs some love. I want you to start identifying these different emotions and experiences that you're having as a signal for a message. There's something there for you. What is it? And can we learn more about it and just get curious? I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do. Oh my gosh. These practices, they've changed my life. They really have. I mean, you were dating me when I was insecure, and I was really struggling with trusting you. Yeah,
but you've done a lot of work on yourself, and just, it's amazing to see when you do put in the work to work towards security in yourself, the rest of your life absolutely flourishes. Yeah. Because we talk about in all of the events that we do that our relationship probably wasn't going to work out in the beginning unless there was that dedication that you were working on separately to work on these insecurities that all of us have to work on, to continue to become the person that you want to be, that everyone wants to be.
Right. And I think there's a lot of areas, right, outside of relationships too, where you're not feeling, so secure in one area, or you feel like, you're struggling with the way that you look on a certain thing, or you're struggling with how you do something. I guess it all relates back to yourself. But how you show up in your relationships too, when you are secure and you are confident that you can take care of yourself, is that you're able to take care of more people around you. I mean, truthfully, I thought it was one of the most selfish things to ever do is to look at myself, but actually it gave me so much more because I was able to help so many more people, and I was able to be a better partner in a relationship with you. Oh my gosh, like for you, Danny, right? Like when you are struggling with something and you feel insecure, I'm able to identify maybe what that is after you communicate it with me, and I'm able to support you emotionally, because I've taken the time to take care of myself and be more intentional to your triggers and what makes you feel insecure. I think everything that we do allows us to be better partners when we look at our patterns and how we respond to things.
I was also going to say the intention is so different when you are confident in who you are. Most of the people who work with us in any capacity are such overgivers because they are solely looking to receive love. So it's not out of having the capacity to take care of other people. It's just looking to soothe these insecurities. So this is so important to work on because your intentions will be so different.
Yeah, 100%. We hope all of this information was super helpful to you. If you want even more, please go to check out the free guide that we mentioned, the attachment guide, and you can get deeper insight on who you are, the patterns that are showing up, and how you can really begin to shift them to feel more secure in who you are. You can also check out the description box here for all of our other resources and upcoming events for more support. And as always, make sure that you like and subscribe. For every single week, we're going to be touching on a different topic that's really, really important to help you thrive as a queer adult. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you soon.